She was already 5 minutes late. Clutching her coffee and bag in one hand, Maya sprinted across the marble lobby, her heels clicking with every desperate step. The elevator doors were about to close. "Hold the door," she shouted, weaving. Through a crowd of office workers, her heart pounded not just from the rush, but from nerves. Today was her first day at the company, and she'd heard stories about how strict and punctual the upper floors were. If she messed this up, she could kiss her dream job goodbye. But just as she lunged forward, she crashed straight into someone. Her coffee flew, her papers scattered, and the sound of her bag hitting the floor echoed through the lobby. Time stopped for a moment. She looked up, mortified, and her breath caught. Standing in front of her, dressed in a crisp navy suit, was a man with striking eyes and the kind of calm presence that demanded attention. He didn't look angry. In fact, there was a slight curve of amusement playing on his lips. I'm so sorry," she stammered, bending to pick up her things. "No harm done," he said, helping her. Then he reached out his hand. "I'm Adrian," she hesitated, shocked. Adrian Knight. The name was whispered in every hallway, printed in every memo. The CEO. The elevator dinged behind them. Their hands met. What started as a clumsy accident was about to flip Maya's entire world upside down. She had no idea this encounter would lead to something more than just a second chance at catching the elevator. Because sometimes love shows up in the most unexpected place, since sometimes it holds the door open for you. But what Maya didn't know was, Adrian was hiding a secret of his own. Maya couldn't stop replaying the moment in her mind as the elevator glided up. She stood beside Adrian in silence, gripping her files tightly, her thoughts racing. The CEO. She had literally bumped into the CEO, and the way he'd looked at her calm, curious, like he was trying to figure her out, it left her heart spinning faster than her mind could catch up. But she didn't have time to get lost in this job was everything she had worked for. She wasn't about to let a random hallway crash distract her as they stepped out on the top floor. Adrian gave her a quick nod and walked off without another word, disappearing into a glass-walled office. Just as the doors closed behind him, Maya caught a glimpse of something unexpected, a framed photo of a woman, face turned just slightly away. The image was blurry, but something about it made her pause. Who was she? Maya shook it off and followed the assistant who had been waiting for her. The rest of the morning flew by in a blur of introductions, policy rundowns, and getting familiar with her new desk on the 15th floor. But her thoughts kept drifting back to that moment in the lobby. Not just the spark between them, but the strange look that had flickered in Adrian's eyes when their hands touched. Like he knew her, or maybe ... remembered her. Later that afternoon, while organizing files, Maya came across an old employee profile with a familiar last name, Knight. But it wasn't Adrian. It was someone else. A woman. Former head of design. Last seen on company records 5 years ago. Before she could click deeper, her screen went black. System update, it read, or maybe something else. The screen flickered. Back on after a few minutes, but the file was gone. Maya blinked in confusion, clicking through folders. Then searching the name again. Nothing. It was as if the document had never existed. She leaned back in her chair, frowning. Maybe it was a glitch, or maybe she'd typed the name wrong, but her gut told her otherwise. Something didn't add up. That night, she stayed late to finish organizing her first week's workload. The office floor had emptied out, the lights dimmed to a soft glow. As she passed the executive wing on her way out, she noticed a faint light still on in Adrian's office. Curiosity tugged at her. Through the glass, she saw him standing at a shelf, holding what looked like an old notebook. He flipped through it slowly, pausing at certain pages, then closed it and locked it inside a drawer. Just as she turned to leave, her phone buzzed on anonymous message. Be careful who you trust. Maya froze. Her palms grew clammy. Was someone watching her? She scanned the hallway, but it was empty. She stuffed her phone in her coat pocket and rushed to the elevator, her mind spinning with questions.
You said that.
Message? Was it related to the file she saw? And why did Adrian seem haunted? Meanwhile, in a quiet corner of the building, an older woman watched the security feed closely. Her face, lined with time and secrets, tightened when she saw Maya on the screen. She looks just like her. The woman whispered to herself, her voice barely a breath. She picked up the phone and dialed an internal number. She's found something. What do you want me to do? A long silence followed on the line. Then a calm voice replied, watch her, but don't let her get too close. Maya couldn't sleep that night. The warning message kept flashing in her mind, and so did Adrian's. Face too calm, too careful, like someone guarding more than just business secrets. The next morning, she walked into the office determined to find answers. She started quietly asking around about the woman in the old file, but no one seemed to know, or they pretended not to. When she mentioned the name Knight, some shifted uncomfortably, others changed the subject. It was like that part of the company's history had been scrubbed clean. During lunch, Maya snuck into the records room, hoping to find archived files. Most were locked behind a digital login, but one dusty box sat untouched in the corner. Marked Design Department Archived. Her heart pounded as she opened it. Inside were sketches, notes, and an ID badge. Alina Knight. Same last name, same jawline. And in one photo, she was standing next to Adrian. The two looked close. Too close to be just co-workers. The date on the back? 5 years ago, the same year Alina vanished from the system. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A soft creak came from the hallway. Maya shoved everything back into the box, closed it quietly, and slipped out. But she wasn't fast enough. Looking for something, a voice said behind her. She turned and froze. It was Adrian. His usual calm was gone. His jaw was clenched, his eyes sharper than ever. He didn't yell, didn't accuse, but his silence was heavier than any words. He motioned toward his office. We need to talk. Maya followed, her mind racing. She had uncovered something bigger than she'd ever imagined. The question was, what happened to Alina Knight, and why did Adrian want to keep it buried? Because now, Maya was in too deep to walk away. Adrian closed the office door behind them. The silence between them was sharp, stretching as he walked slowly to his desk. He didn't sit. Instead, he looked at her like he was trying to read her thoughts. You found Elena's file, he said quietly, not as a question, but a statement. Maya nodded, unsure of what to say. She expected anger, maybe even threats. But what came next wasn't what she expected at all. I didn't erase her, he said. They did. Maya stared at him. Who's they? He didn't answer right away. He pulled open the drawer and took out the same notebook she had seen the night before. Setting it on the desk, he opened it to a page marked by a torn ribbon. There, scribbled in shaky handwriting, was a message. If anything happens to me, it won't be an accident. Alina was my sister, he said, voice low. She worked here for nearly a decade. Brilliant, stubborn, always digging deeper than she should have. One day she discovered something buried in the company's past. 2 weeks later, she disappeared. No goodbyes, no trace. Just gone. Maya's breath caught in her throat. You think the company had something to do with it? I don't think, Adrian said. I know. Before Maya could respond, a soft buzz echoed from the desk. Adrian checked his phone. His face changed. They know you were in the archives, he said. Security's been alerted. Suddenly, the lights dimmed. Adrian moved fast. He grabbed a key card from his drawer and handed it to her. Go to sublevel 3. There's a locked server room down there. Use this. Everything Alina found it's stored there. Maya hesitated. What about you? But Adrian was already moving to the door. Just trust me, he said. And whatever happens, don't let them find you first. Maya ran, her heart pounding with every step as she took the service stairs to avoid being seen. The building felt colder, quieter. Each floor she passed seemed to stretch longer than the last. When she finally reached sublevel 3, the hallway was dim and silent. At the end was a metal door with a red scanner. She swiped the keycard. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the light turned green, and the lock clicked open. Inside, rows of outdated servers hummed softly. Dust coated most of the shelves, except one terminal that was still warm, recently used. Maya approached the computer and entered her own login first. Denied? Then she tried Elena's name. The screen blinked. Access granted. Data files began loading. Dozens of folders, all labeled with terms like internal contracts, Project Phoenix, and erased staff. One folder was marked Final Statement. Inside was a video file. Maya clicked it. Alina appeared on screen, her face pale, eyes tired. If you're watching this, it means I couldn't stop them. This company isn't just hiding money or shady business deals. It's hiding people. Employees who refuse to stay silent about safety risks, manipulation, stolen inventions, gone without explanation. I found proof, and I've stored it in the encrypted backup drive linked to this terminal. Maya stared at the screen, chills crawling down her spine. It was everything. Proof, motive, names. She backed up the files to a flash drive just as heavy footsteps echoed in the hallway. Suddenly, the server room door burst open. But it wasn't security. It was Adrian, his shirt torn, blood on his sleeve. We're out of time, he gasped. Someone close, someone I trusted, they set me up. They've been running this from inside. Before she could speak, a second figure stepped into view. It was the assistant who'd welcomed Maya on her first day, and she was holding a gun. Asterisk. Maya's breath caught as she stared at the assistant. Rachel, her friendly smile, now replaced by cold determination. Adrian stepped protectively in front of her, despite his injury. It was you all along, he said, voice filled with betrayal. Rachel didn't deny it. You were never supposed to get this far, she replied. But your sister made it harder than it should have been, and now, so have you. Before she could move, Maya pressed a hidden emergency alert under the desk, something she had spotted when the computer booted up. Seconds later, the faint sound of alarms echoed through the sublevel. Rachel's eyes widened. What did you do? Let the truth in, Maya said quietly. In the chaos that followed, security arrived, not the internal team corrupted by Rachel's side, but Adrian's personal detail he had secretly kept on standby since Elena disappeared. Rachel was taken into custody, and the files Maya backed up were handed directly to the authorities. Investigations were launched, exposing the network of internal cover-ups and forced disappearances. Elena's case, once buried, became national news. In the weeks that followed, the company changed. Adrian stepped down temporarily to cooperate fully, determined to rebuild from within. Maya, though shaken, stayed not just as an employee, but as someone who had helped bring truth to light. She was offered a new role in internal ethics, one that Alina had once dreamed of starting one evening. As Maya stood in the now renamed design wing the Alina Night Studio, Adrian joined her. No words were needed. What began with a spilled coffee and a brief glance in an elevator had turned into something neither of them expected. Sometimes, fate doesn't just bring people together, makes them fight for something bigger than themselves. And in that fight, they found not only the truth, but each other. Asterisk,